I'm happy. I've done a good day's work today. It's been raining, so I've been off the gardening today. I couldn't really do much. So I've tackled a job that I've been worrying about for a long time. I shouldn't have worried about it. It's actually been quite straightforward. The gear linkage for the shifter to the new gearbox. I was just thinking about it for days, and I thought about it all day yesterday. I was thinking about it all last week whilst I was doing the fuel tank. I was trying to figure out what to do. I didn't really know what I was going to do. It was just a big sort of grey cloud of unknowing, sort of, when you look at something in your mind and you see it and you think that's how that's going to be, and round the gearbox linkage was just a big like grey blank. Couldn't figure it out. So I was looking at things, thinking, if I make this lever a bit longer and that lever a bit shorter, will that work? Or I don't know, because basically the shifter on the van, the lever for underneath the floor that actuates the rod, what happens is the shifter goes under the floor. There's a lever underneath which moves backwards and forwards. That is connected to a rod. Then that is connected to another lever which joins up like a pivot bar type thing. So pivots off this bar. That goes down to another lever which goes to another rod which goes forwards to the rod on the gearbox. Just that's the way it is. I think it's partly because the exhaust is on the one side and the shifter rod on the standard gearbox is on the passenger side. So that's sort of, I was just trying to figure out what the hell to do with that. So basically I've sort of stuck with that system, even though the gearbox I've got has got a shifter rod, like a pivot spindle for the rod on either side. So I could have changed the side round, but I think to be honest, with the exhaust being on that side, I wanted to probably keep that clear if I could. I don't really know if I have or not. Anyway, it's done. So, right, this is the Volvo shifter. Sorry about the mess. I've been working, I've just finished. That is the lever that goes underneath, side, like that. That is the lever that goes underneath. That's 125mm. So I was like, if I use this, that would be 125mm. The lever on the other side was 160mm. The one on the Bedford was 100mm. And then it's just, I was just trying to figure out loads of things, made some like models out of like wood and stuff like that, just 2D sort of levers and rods and stuff like that, trying to figure out what to do. And then suddenly it just struck me, why don't I just make all the rods? Because basically that's how I did it. This is how I worked it out. If you're ever doing this yourself, this is really, I think, probably the way you need to do it. Right. So what I did, just make sure the gas is off on the welder. So what I did was I measured the angle. Right. I used this bevel thing, whatever it's called, sliding bevel. I measured the angle of the arm on the gearbox in the park position and drive position, or whichever way around that is. I think that's the other way around. I measured the angles, and then I measured how far, like this lever on here is 80mm from centre to centre. So I've measured how far, I've worked out the angles, right, and I've drawn it on this piece of paper, and then I've drawn a circle, like a radius with my compass, you can see there, and then I've measured that distance there, 77mm, right. So then I've got represents the levers on the van. So what I've done is I've done the same there. I've measured the angles forwards and backwards, the furthest it'll go, right, and then I've found the position on that arc, which is a 77mm gap between the two extremes of movement of the lever. And then I've measured that distance there from the pivot to there, where that 77mm thing is, which is of course 125mm, and I've just thought, of course it is, because that's the same as this. That lever is 125mm long. So then I've just thought, well, if I make my lever on the van 125mm long, then that's going to work. All I've got to do is make all the other levers 125mm long, and that'll work. So that's what I've done, and it does work. I'll show you. Right, so this is the shifter on the van. I wanted to stick with that because it's more of a classic. It suits the van a bit better really than that Volvo one, and it would have been a bit of a nightmare to get it to look right. Anyway, you can see that as I shift, that's it park now. Reverse, neutral, drive, 2, 1. That's great because it means all I have to do with the wiring as well for the starter lockout and the reverse is I'll just plug everything back in as it was. My neighbour's back. There's the bottom of the lever. I've extended that bar, I've used all thread. It is all the way back to there. There's the prop shaft comes there. The exhaust comes down this gap here. I've just used tech screws for now, just to make sure that I was right. I've got to drill holes through there and put rubber bolts in. And then this side, you can see, goes to there. Some better. I'll have to tighten that up. That's all temporary. I've got to take these off and paint them. I might do that now actually. Another thing I've done is that I've finished the fuel tank. Oh, fuck's sake. Grass all over it. The fuel tank in the in-tank unit's all there ready to go in. I've also made a bracket for this cradle that is ready to bolt onto the bottom of the van. I broke my bloody rivet tool. I forgot it came with a washer that you're meant to use, and I forgot to use it, and it basically pulled the bloody bolt all the way through it and knackered it up. So I've ordered a new one. I've got a new one coming. It should be here tomorrow maybe. I've also ordered a shitload of steel to make some exhaust pipes out of. So that's one of the next jobs now. I'm so pleased that the gearbox is done. I was quite stressed about that.